Hello there. Thank you so much for joining us. This is News Channel Nebraska. My name's Eric McKay. Let's take a look at our top headlines today. Beginning with big decisions by the Nebraska Supreme Court. They ruled Friday that competing measures that would expand or limit abortion rights can appear on the November ballot. The High Court's ruling came days after it heard arguments in 3 lawsuits that sought to keep one or both of the state's competing abortion initiatives off the November ballot. Organizers for the competing measures each turned in well over the 123,000 required valid signatures needed to get them on the ballot. One initiative would enshrine in the Nebraska Constitution the right to have an abortion until viability or later to protect the health of the pregnant woman. The other would write into the Constitution Nebraska's current 12-week abortion ban passed by the legislature last year, which includes exceptions for rape, incest, and the life of the pregnant woman. Meanwhile, the state Supreme Court has also ruled that a measure seeking to repeal a new conservative-backed law that provides taxpayer money for private school tuition should appear on the state's November ballot. The court found the ballot measure does not target an appropriation, which is prohibited by law. The ruling came just days after the state's High Court heard arguments Tuesday in a lawsuit brought by an eastern Nebraska woman whose child received one of the first private school tuition scholarships available through the new law. The Supreme Court also ordered Secretary of State Bob Evnen to keep the measure on the ballot. That after Evnen submitted an 11th-hour brief to the High Court saying he made a mistake and intended to rescind his certification. But Chief Justice Michael Heavican wrote Friday there is no process by which the Secretary of State can now change his mind. As for the future of medical marijuana's ballot measure in Nebraska, that could be up in smoke after a central Nebraska man has been charged with petition fraud. Michael Egbert has been charged with a felony related to gathering signatures for Nebraska's medical marijuana petition. In a news conference Friday, State Attorney General Mike Hilgers said the Hall County Election Office found 21 pages of signatures turned into her office that had potentially fraudulent signatures. Hall County Election Commissioner Tracy Overstreet said all of the suspected fake signatures were traced back to Egbert. This is the second setback for medical marijuana backers in as many days. On Thursday, former state Senator John Keene filed a legal challenge to the ballot petitions related to medical cannabis. Keene's lawsuit implied that there were possible invalid signatures, but it's unclear if those signatures are the same involved in the case in Hall County. In other news, tens of thousands of Boeing workers are on strike as of the early hours of Friday. The walkouts at facilities in Washington and other states following union votes Thursday. The tallies showed supermajorities of members rejected a proposed new contract and approved of the strike. Amy Kiley has insight from Boeing workers.
Strike! Strike! Strike!
About 33,000 Boeing workers are on strike today. That's after union workers voted down a proposed contract and authorized the walkout to start overnight.
Our members rejected the contract by 94.6%, and they voted to strike by 96%.
The strike affects workers at facilities in multiple states.
I'm just emotional because my daughter still lives at home, and she makes more than I do. But she went to college, right? So she'll step in for my wife and I, but that's not going to make me sign yes.
The rejected contract lists a 25% raise spread out over 4 years. Boeing says that's its largest ever general wage increase. It says the deal also helps with health care and retirement costs.
Boeing is portraying to the media that it's this greatest thing they've ever done, and it's not.
Critics say it's not enough.
We have members that are still living in their cars at maxed out pay because they cannot afford to live in this state and work at this company.
I made more at Walmart than working here.
Some say their upset union negotiators settled for less than the 40% they had wanted.
What we asked to be brought to the table wasn't. It was actually, it's like I said, it was kind of a slap in the face.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
The man convicted of stealing hundreds of thousands of dollars from a Northeast Nebraska transit authority is now headed to prison. Andrew Pfeiffer has more from the courtroom.
Well, it is finally over. Former North Fork Area Transit Manager Jeffrey Stewart has been sentenced to 15 to 18 years in Madison County Jail.
That you be sentenced to an indeterminate term of not less than 15 or more than 18 years.
After stealing about $750,000 in the fall and winter of 2022, Jeffrey Stewart has been sentenced and ordered to pay restitution.
I've destroyed my life. I've let down my family and friends. I mean, I've destroyed a career.
The former North Fork Area Transit Manager pleaded no contest back on July 29th. Stewart was sentenced on 2 charges, one of which was the unauthorized use of a transaction device. The other was obstruction of government operations.
The bottom fell out of the floor. I mean, I have been on these medications the majority of my adult life. I was taken off of those medications between the alcohol and the substances. Not in my right frame of mind.
Stewart stated his regret during his sentencing. He expressed that his wrongdoing would catch up with him.
The charade couldn't go on any longer, and I personally could not take it any longer.
The second charge comes from an incident within Madison County Jail, where Stewart fell and claimed he was injured. The charge is due to the fact that Stewart was in fact not injured in the way he specified. Here's footage of Stewart falling that was played in the courtroom.
Not taking away from the seriousness of what I've done, I just don't know what happened. I mean, mentally, I can't explain it to you.
Stewart was given credit for 417 days served in Madison County Jail. Judge James G. Kuby handed down Stewart's sentencing.
You knew right from wrong. And regardless of the fact that maybe you had been suffering from mental health issues, a change in medication, whatever, you knew what you were doing at the time was wrong.
I take full responsibility for my actions. I wish and I pray to God every single day that I would have done something differently.
Reporting in Madison, Andrew Pfeiffer, News Channel, Nebraska.
Police in Omaha are investigating an attempted robbery. Officers responded to the Saul's Jewelry and Loan Store in West Omaha, where an employee told them that multiple suspects had entered, attempted to rob the store, and left with nothing. Police say they located the suspect vehicle about a mile north of the shop and took multiple parties in for questioning. No word on any arrests or charges being filed. Yet another person has been taken into custody related to a school threat in Nebraska, this time in Battle Creek. Madison County Sheriff's officials say a juvenile was arrested at the high school about 10 miles west of Norfolk on Thursday. Law enforcement was called to the school after several students reported being threatened with physical harm by the student. No weapons were found. They've since been lodged at the Northeast Nebraska Juvenile Detention Center in Madison. This after arrests or citations were made related to separate threats at schools in Norfolk, Columbus, and Grand Island earlier this week, while a 14-year-old is being charged as an adult in Douglas County related to the shooting of a classmate at Northwest High School. Well, a new development in Grand Island might mean big plans for the future of the city. Ana Ruth Lugo Mejia has more.
More housing and commercial developments are on the way for Grand Island. Legacy 34 Apartments has completed its second phase and now offers 215 units. But the developers have even more projects coming.
The nice thing about our commercial area, it's going to be very quaint and timeless. Everything is designed around a plaza.
President of Innate Concepts, Scott Rives, says they are now focusing on building the commercial side, which includes Barista's Coffee House, Big Red Treats, balls, a dental center, and a hotel. He says this will tremendously change the Grand Island community.
Grand Island is booming right now, and they need something special and unique. And this is really going to serve the professionals coming to this town, recruitment to Grand Island, and also keeping those professionals that already live here, because everybody wants a special place to live. And that is what Prairie District and Legacy 34 Apartments will do, is providing that special place for people to come and live and feel at home.
Rive says they will soon be digging a 20-plus acre lake and building 150 single-family homes. Summit real estate agent Eric Wright says they're working on the infrastructure of the area so that lots can start to be sold in the spring.
We're excited for that to see. It's going to give Grand Island something different, something that's compared to what you'd see in Denver or Dallas.
Commercial space is available for sale or to rent. In the future, that development also hopes to build condos. In Grand Island, Ana Ruth Lugo Mejia, New Channel, Nebraska.
And finally, a familiar face is returning to the Grand Island Public School Board. Grand Island's board appointed Carlos Barcenas to the vacant Ward C seat on Thursday. Barcenas returning to the board after serving it originally from 2013 to 2012. He was chosen over one other finalist, Miguel Aguilera. Barcenas takes over for Katie Malden, who resigned in August after moving out of the district. Barcenas will serve the remainder of Malden's term, which runs through the end of 2026. And you can stay up to date with the very latest by following us online. Head to newschannelnebraska.com and click on the News tab there. You can also follow us on X, like us on Facebook and Instagram as well. Thanks for joining us. Have a great weekend. You're watching News Channel Nebraska.